Live from New York, it's Ask an Engineer.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Ask an Engineer, our 1 hour weekly show that we do every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, where we're social but keeping our distance. You're over there watching us through the screen.
That's right.
We're here in New York. Nobody else is here, so this is the factory's a little quiet right now. But we got an exciting show for you tonight with all sorts of stuff like new products and new product introductions. We got videos, tutorials, CircuitPython news, all that stuff, including a code. And Mr. Ladier is going to tell you all about it.
All right, on tonight's show, the code is In It Together. 10% off on the Adafruit store all the way up to 11:59 p.m. Anything that's in stock. And this is for everything but Codecademy, gift certificates, and AdaBox. The code is In It Together because we are in it together. This is our entire team that was here one of the Fridays not too long ago. So there's about half of us in this photo. And when you place an order and use the code In It Together, you support us, an open source hardware company here in New York City. And I'm going to change the order of the way we do things. So one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight is obviously there's a lot of things going on with COVID-19. There's school closures around the country. There's going to be transit things that are going on. There's events that are being canceled. But one of the things that we wanted to do over the last decade is have a place online every single week where people can get together no matter what. Lots of events that we couldn't make it to because we couldn't leave to travel to go somewhere because we're running Adafruit. So a lot of people are now jumping in feet first into online videos, working remotely. And we've been built like this for a long time. So one of the things I wanted to reassure everyone, Adafruit's in New York City. New York City will probably be in the news because it's where a lot of the positive tests are coming out of. We'll be okay. Adafruit was born not too far from here, the shadow of where the Trade Center was. We watched the Freedom Tower get built.
Yeah, every day.
Every single week.
Years.
And that was an area that was in recovery. We started Adafruit when things really started to take off when we were an apartment company was right after 2008, and that was the financial crisis. I remember we needed to take our money out of the bank that we had because we knew it was going to get shut down. It was a good guess, but we took it out. We got a cashier's check so we could pay our taxes. So we wanted to make sure we did that. So other things that happened for the folks that have been watching the show for a long time, Sandy hit not too long ago. Feels like yesterday, but it was, it was
like 8 years ago.
It was a long time ago. Not too long ago in how, you think of an event like that. And Adafruit was shut down for a while. And we kept people updated on our blogs and any social media that we used at the time. We did the live broadcasts when we could. There was no power. And one of the things that was important to us, and this is, again, early on in Adafruit, we had just moved to one of the floors in this factory, have since grown to 3 floors, is we paid all of our employees during that time. We're set up right now, if things like that happen. All of our Adafruit team members, here's
shown here.
Here's, well, some of them. That's just a glimpse. Everyone at Adafruit has paid time off the first day they start here. So we never wanted to do the accrued paid time off because a lot of people, they get a job and they have to work 30 hours for every 1 hour of time off. We don't do that. Right now, if anyone has any sickness or illness, they should not come in, and they don't have to worry about losing their jobs. They don't have to worry about time off. So that's one of the things that we set up from the start. We also made sure our entire team, and this is why we asked people to buy kits and electronics from us, is because we wanted one great healthcare plan. I had to send out an all company-wide email about the updates to our healthcare plan. So we used Aetna, and we got kind of the best possible one that we can afford.
It's pretty good, yeah.
It's expensive. But Aetna keeps sending out more updates they're going to waive fees for COVID testing, no copays.
No copays.
The pharmacy benefit,
Yeah.
they do delivery now. And I know a lot of companies have different healthcare plans for their employees. There's the people that are hourly and the people that are salary. There's executives and then there's everybody else. We decided not to do that. And when we talked to our healthcare broker, they said, well, that's very unusual. We had to tell them, no, we never want to be in a situation where there's different levels of care for the employees. So when people ask, like,
I have the same health insurance as somebody who walks in tomorrow on the first day on the job.
Same thing with our 401k. 401k, not so interesting right now because of the stock market, but we did the same 401k for everyone. So, there's a lot of times that people say, oh, I can always get something cheaper from China, or like, why should I buy from, this woman-owned company? Well, these are some of the reasons. If you want to see this type of change in the world, we've been operating like this. We knew at some point that there would be some type of crisis or tragedy in New York that we'd have to get through because it's happened before. Sandy we got through. I was in New York on September 10th, and I flew out, and then 9/11 hit. So I've lived through a lot of different things. That was just luck that I happened to be a few blocks away and flew home the day before. But we do have enough runway as a company to survive. And,
whatever
we'll be
we have
better.
to do.
Yeah, things will be better on the other side. But just so everyone knows, I do expect there to be some delays in shipping. I expect there'll be delays with us getting some parts from around the world. There'll be a lot of things. We'll get through this, and how we treat each other now. Don't forget, we're going to be all stuck with each other on the other side of this.
Too.
So, it cut everybody a little bit of slack. Not just us. But everyone, because I think a lot of people, their lives are changing significantly. There's going to be a lot of parents that work here at Adafruit that have to take care of their kids if there's a school closure, and we have to make sure that we're flexible enough so they can just leave and take care of that. So we'll be operating maybe even on different shifts. We might do weekend work. We have people that have different commuting scenarios. We also have a distributed team around the world. You'll see a lot of Adafruit remote team members who produce content and publish code.
They're like, we're set, we're ready.
They were built for that. And so I just want to let everyone know we'll be fine. But now is the time to support all the companies and all the things that you want to see succeed, because they'll need your help. That is one thing for sure. So when we toss around these codes and show pictures, this is what we've built this for. So thank you everyone who's been with us over the last 10 plus years. We built something sturdy, and we'll get through this together, and we'll also be in all the online places like we always are. Discord is great. We did that from the start.
I know, and it's great. And it's people who they might be a little bit more lonely because they can't go to events and talk to people and be social, maybe working from home. And that's why we have Discord, and we have these live streams. We have tons of live streams all through the week. And we have people hanging out on Discord, chit-chatting, working on projects, showing off projects.
If you ever wanted to join a community where you can show your project, share code, if you want to work on a fantastic project like CircuitPython, now's the time. And you may have the time. So, Okay. We'll talk about show and tell, people around the world showing and sharing their projects. JP's workshop is tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll show some videos and more, including Make Code Minute. We have some Python on hardware news, some jobs from the Adafruit job board, time travel, 3D printing, made in New York City factory footage. We've got new products. We've got top secret. We'll answer your questions. We do that over on Discord, adafruit.it/Discord, where you can join 16,000 of us. All that and more on, you guessed it,
Ask Engineer.
Okay, so Lady Ada, let's
kick it off.
Let folks know right now we're still doing freebies.
We're still doing freebies, and we're still shipping. So if you would like to order some stuff and you use that code, and you have $99 or more in your cart, you'll get a free Proto half-size breadboard. Very handy for taking your solderless breadboard project, soldering this to the PCB to make it permanent using the nice through-hole plated gold pads and the wonderful silk screen in 3 colors with white and background and red and blue markings and black pin markings as well. It's handy. I love these things. $199 or more, you get free UPS ground shipping. That's free shipping in the continental United States with trackable insured UPS ground. And at $299 or more, you get a free Circuit Playground Express, a great all-in-one learning platform if you want to learn how to code or how to do electronics. No soldering required. It comes with all the LEDs and sensors and chips that you need to get going. You can run it with Arduino, CircuitPython, Code.org, CS Discoveries, or make code with JavaScript or Python if you're just starting out, as well as other exciting languages.
Okay, in the US, UPS ground is the way to go. Postal, there might be some delays, and not always up to the minute tracking, and DHL for international. Same-day delivery is still happening here in New York City. We have not received word that it's not happening yet. I expect it probably will be different next week or so. But for now, if you check out before 11 a.m., you can get same-day delivery here in New York City. Show and tell. People around the world showing and sharing their projects. Lady Ada, who is on the show and tell, and what did they share this week?
Well, we had a lot of people come by and show us off their projects. People are making cool things. We kicked it off with Anne, who made a guide using the Bright Wearables purse bag. It's a lovely pink purse, and used a clue board to add a image displayer and LED swirling effect in CircuitPython. Brent just wrapped up the guide and code for adding WizNet Ethernet to CircuitPython. So if you have CircuitPython boards, we have Wi-Fi, but maybe you want to use Ethernet because Ethernet is reliable, it's really fast, and it's got cables, no SSID stuff required. Check out the library and the guide, and it should be working pretty nicely. And he says it's super fun to use, and also showed off a Cheerlights demo. Phil B is working on NeoPixel Zero DMA, improving it for every single board that we are making with the SAMD21 and SAMD51. So if you want to use NeoPixels on many of our boards, you can use DMA to make it super fast. Brian wrote a little register renamer helper to help him debug I2C traces as he's writing up the code for the ICM 2948. Noah and Pedro did a video for Adafruit IO. We'll show that later. And they showed off their demos, including a little remote servo controller and environmental monitor. Scott is still hacking on low power. He's well rested. He's sleeping a lot. Well, there's code sleeping a lot. He's improved the low power usage of the Feather Sense by about 6 times by sleeping the board and turning off all peripherals, turning off the LEDs and such between wake-ups. JP is working on more egg drop projects. So I wrote up a guide, but he's going to add a little bit more on different ways to use a box and rubber bands to keep your virtual clue egg from cracking. Melissa got a clue working with a bit buggy. It's a little remote controlled 2-wheeled buggy bot for Microbit, but she got it working with clue. We had Sophie come by. She milled her own PCBs, soldered NeoPixels for them, and they worked. Helen learned that she has to use teardrop effects on Flex PCBs for her sewable synthesizer project. So learning a lot with that. More coming soon with sewable synthesizers. And Drew also showed off a PCB that's going to be in the Oshawa swag bag that people will be getting, even though we're not physically all showing up here in New York. You'll get that bag shipped to you, and you can follow along and learn how to solder surface mount components with Drew's LED Blinky kit.
All right. All participants of the Show and Tell get an As Seen on Show and Tell sticker. Email support@adafruit.com. If you're a kid, please have a guardian-like entity email for you. Tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, is JP's show, JP's workshop. JP will be showing you a variety of things. Here is a preview of some of the things we're working on with the egg drop. So if you're wondering what that is, a lot of adults probably remember when they were a kid, you would get an egg, you would build a contraption to do your best job to make it so it doesn't crack open when it hits the ground. Well, now there's an option without breaking an egg.
No egg.
No eggs were harmed in this demo.
Right.
And so what we did is we used a clue, and it'll show on there if it gets a significant enough impact, the display picture of the egg will crack open.
That's right.
So we're working on that.
It's a great way to also learn about acceleration and shock, which is the change in acceleration, which is what we're measuring, and using the clue graphical display so you can plot and read exactly how much better or worse your contraption is. So it's not just egg broken or not, you can actually see the level of G's, how much force the cyber egg took.
Okay, and also every single Thursday on JP's workshop is Make Code Minute, so take it away, JP.
What I wanted to show today in the Make Code Minute is how you can use JavaScript to alter the functionality of some of your code blocks to do things that the code blocks themselves can't do. So what am I talking about here? Let's take a look at my overhead. And I have a Circuit Playground Express here. When I press the A button, you'll see I'm going to light up the LEDs one at a time, starting with LED 0 and running up to LED 9. And that's easy to do in blocks. I'll show you how. The thing that's not so easy to do in blocks is to run it in reverse. So I'm using this B button, and that actually takes them from 9 back down to 0. So how do you do that? Here's what happens when I press button A. I am setting all the pixels to black, and then I'm using this for loop. And the for loop essentially takes a variable that's called index in this case, and it runs it as 0 to the number that you put at the top of this thing. So it's going to run it 10 times. It's going to go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Each time it iterates, it adds 1 to that index value. So that means that we can set the pixel color at LED 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I'm pausing a little bit between them. But there is no block that allows me to change this number. I can't say go from 9 to 0 and subtract. So I'm going to do that in JavaScript. And the way to do that is to just take our code from blocks over to JavaScript. And what I did was I just looked at how did that first one work. I copied and pasted that, and then I reversed things. So I said, here's my duplicate of it. I said, let's take that index and give it a new name. So it's unique. So I said reverse index, rev index, is 9. As long as it is larger than or equal to 0, we're going to proceed. And then every time the loop runs, we do this rev index minus minus, which is the same as -1. The rest of the code is the same. If I head back to blocks, there is my code block. It gets it. It realizes, okay, you did something over in JavaScript. We can't represent that in pre-baked blocks, but we'll give you this little gray sort of non-editable block that shows you what that code is, which is your signal to head on over to JavaScript land if you want to edit that. And so that is a way that you can get new functionality from a block by heading over to JavaScript inside of Make Code. And that is your Make Code Minute.
All right, and don't forget JP's workshop tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. All right, it is now time for Python on Hardware News.
Blinka, blinka, blinka.
So, some significant news in my opinion, as someone who works on this newsletter and watching this thing called CircuitPython. Serpente is now a success story. The title of our newsletter this week was CircuitPython Empowering Makers to Make Businesses. So this is a Serpente. It's from Arturo. You can see it's $15 a pop. We sell them on Adafruit.
That's right.
And they're also on Tindy.com. They have pretty much universal 5-star reviews. Arturo was able to make hardware and not have to worry about the software as much because Arturo used CircuitPython. So CircuitPython, much like Python, is one of those batteries included every time there's an update.
She gets an update.
And one of the things, because I wrote this up as one thing, as far as like a little mini case study, as they say in the biz world, Arturo sold 400 of these.
That's
Couldn't
a lot.
have done it without the awesome power of CircuitPython, and it is something that we see taking off. For open source hardware makers or pretty much anyone, Sony today, their board, the Sprezens,
yeah.
they get all the new features of CircuitPython every time there's an update. So they just send their customers over to circuitpython.org/downloads. There's a picture of the board, and it's literally just as easy as dragging and dropping a file, and now you've got the latest version of CircuitPython.
Yeah,
So,
and we're adding more and more. We just added Microlab. It's going to be coming out in a new release. We're working on adding RG matrices. There's a lot of stuff that you don't have to worry about if your board is ported to CircuitPython and is part of our build platform.
Yeah.
We have like 100 plus boards that are already in there.
Yeah,
It's very
and so
easy.
I expect this is going to be very similar to what I saw when I was writing about Arduino. So a million years ago, I wrote an article, Why Arduino? Why It's Here to Stay. And at the very end, I said the things that make an electronics platform successful, that's going to happen no matter what the shape of the board. And this reminds me of that. So what I'm seeing is people that do hardware, they're like, how can I focus on the hardware? How can I keep the cost down? How can I make something that has Bluetooth? How can I make something that has Wi-Fi? How can I make something that has a display? All that stuff just delays your ability to ship hardware unless you can get something that's baked in, open source, and there's a big community behind it, so there's frequent updates. So this is the every news article about the world right now has a chart, and like I don't want to make a chart like this, but it looks like CircuitPython is following that the number of boards that we have. There's over 116 boards. The number of libraries, there's over 200. It has that same adoption curve that you see for really large electronic platforms.
Yeah.
So it'll be neat. Speaking of, so while the Open Hardware Summit is gone virtual, there are still things going on with the hardware. So this is a tray. This is from SparkFun. If you look really, 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 really close, you can see Blinka in there.
Ooh.
So some of the badges have
Enhanced.
Blinka on it. Here's the tester, and here's a pack that was getting shipped off. Let's go to the overhead real quick. We have one. Thank you, Drew. This arrived today.
Yay.
This is a QR code where you can get the information about the badge,
Yeah.
and it's a wearable. You can see the size. This would fit well on a Lady Ada wrist or any wrist.
Ooh.
And this is, I think, one of the first prototypes that were made, because eventually there was these.
You can see the
CircuitPython
little purple,
logos.
little Oshpark
So
niblets.
we'll probably be doing some projects with this and more. It's very similar to the Clue, so probably a lot of the things that you do with Clue will work on this. And then this particular wearable platform badge and all the things it does will always be updated as we update CircuitPython. So this is a really neat thing that'll last a very, very long time. The Open Hardware Summit physical one will be next year. I fully expect people to be hacking on these badges over the next year, so we'll probably see a lot of cool projects. That is the Open Hardware badge.
Yay.
There is a new extension community made for Visual Studio Code. This is from Joe. Joe wanted to bring the entire CircuitPython workflow into a single place in VS Code. This was inspired by Scott Hanselman's blog post and the VS Code Arduino extension, and it's in the Visual Studio Marketplace right now. The Open Serial Console will prompt you for a serial port to connect to, then it'll display the serial port output from the board attached to the board. So if you like tools like Mew, but you like to use things like Visual Studio Code, this is for you.
This looks really nice. I might try this out. I love how there's like, it's not too much, like some IDEs, they're just so intense. I like how this is, it's very simple. Like the simplicity is important.
Next up, Jay made a really fantastic tutorial on how to make a CircuitPython GPS locator. So these are my favorite. These are single serving devices. People always say, oh, why don't you get a phone? Well, a phone's not going to work all the time, and a phone can get turned off in a variety of ways, or you can install an app, or now you have the overhead of a phone, and you have a monthly service plan, all that stuff. This is a very straightforward, easy to make GPS that displays all sorts of things. 3D printed case, very cool project. Thank you for sharing it, Jay. Big-ish news, I think. Microlab, you can crunch numbers fast with CircuitPython. Jepler worked on this, and it is one of the neatest things I've seen to come to CircuitPython, because now you can do a bunch of number crunching tasks in CircuitPython and about 10 times as fast.
Yes, for
sensor
sensors,
data,
for doing like stuff that you want to visualize. I mean, CircuitPython, it's powerful, but it's interpreted. So if you have, an array of 100 numbers and you want to perform an operation on all of them, you would normally have to go through and iterate through that array, which, it takes more time in Python. Using ULab, it's like NumPy. It's the same thing. It's like you have an array type, and then you can perform operations very quickly on all of them. And because it's low level written in C instead of doing the interpreter for every step, it's very, very fast. You can do a lot of mathematical features. It's not exactly like NumPy, but it's heavily inspired by NumPy. So if you use NumPy, you'll be like, oh yeah, I know what this does. This is familiar. But obviously, we couldn't fit everything.
Next up, we did the IoT Design Week with Microchip, Wizard of Make Bob Martin. So if you want to see this, you can go to Microchip's YouTube channel and see the entire hour-long session. Thank you so much, Microchip, for broadcasting this. This was a virtual event planned ahead of time, and it was not because something was canceled, by the way.
That was so handy. We were ready to go.
Yeah, we were ready to do it. Last week, we did Ion MPI, and we did an introduction to the ESP32S2 and talked a little bit about how we're going to run CircuitPython and Tiny USB on it. Check out that segment. It's also a newsletter in beta, adafruitdaily.com. And we're going to have the newsletter, the blog post, and everything go out about the same time each week. So check that out if you want to get the latest and greatest on where you can get these new chips and more, and of course some of the things that we're doing with CircuitPython. This is kind of cool. This is a game of life made with CircuitPython. Brandon made this, and it's on a screen, and it's starring the one and only Blinka.
Yeah, look at the tile actions. This is using the built-in tile capabilities of Display IO. You can't tell.
This is the Feather M4 Airlift Featherwing plus Ethernet. CircuitPython snakes its way to Cat 5.
That's right. We got that working this week.
Kevin made a video on panelizing circuit boards using KiCad. This one happens to be the Circuit Brain boards powered by CircuitPython. This is another business example of using CircuitPython. This crowd supply is going to be going live, and you'll be able to purchase these boards that Kevin made, and CircuitPython is built right in.
Yay!
This is from Ben, who makes these really cute Lego minifig looking CircuitPython things. And if you look at the video really close, he was like, "Oh, CircuitPython 5 came out, new version. Let me see how long it takes." And it was about the same time it took to tweet. That's how fast. This is kind of cool. Greg got the CircuitPython REPL that Zobs ported over to FOMO, running on the Orange Crab. You'll see more of that.
That's exciting.
Liz is working on this very cool step counter based on Clue, CircuitPython. Special shout out and thanks to NovelBits. They do an excellent Bluetooth industry report.
Yep.
And this is like when like a Bluetooth celebrity, Senpai, I noticed us. Like this is neat. They are the standard for, I think, the best Bluetooth newsletter.
Yeah.
I do subscribe to a bunch, and it was great to see our board in there. So if you haven't already, check out the NovelBits Bluetooth industry report, especially if you're into this stuff. Another thing that was posted, this is from Go Jimmy Pie. They published their quest to get CircuitPython on a soft RISC-V CPU on the ECP5 FPGA for the Redona ULX3X. Whew. That was
That's a
mouthful.
lot.
I got through it. Anyways, CircuitPython for RISC-V.
FPGA running RISC-V, and then CircuitPython on top of that.
Yeah. This is a really neat CircuitPython based light up glove, complete with Iron Man polling.
That's nice.
Check that out, yeah.
Fancy.
And then, Lady Ada, what do you call a gathering in a group of crickets? Do you know?
A herd? I don't know.
An orchestra.
An orchestra.
Yeah, so this is
That's
an
nice.
orchestra of crickets in CircuitPython. This is kind of cool. Sam posted up some great x-rays of some boards, including the feather-compatible Orange Crab. We're sending Sam out a bunch of our boards, and hopefully we'll have some cool x-ray photos of them soon. Moit had posted up a delightful creation. This is a Featherwing prototype using the Bantam Tools Mill. It's a classy way to display 7 segments.
Toot.
This is a feather adapter for the Onion Omega by Tisham, and the files are available on GitHub. This is the Clue running on a Gigglebot, and this is from Clio QC. So all of the microbit accessories that we've been testing out have been working out so far, and a lot of people in the community has been testing them as well. Microbit released kind of good timing, classroom.microbit.org. You can do this virtual or in person and have kids learn about Python or make code all inside their interface. It works really well. We have a guide that we also just published. Kenny posted up a new guide. This is for putting Badger, our series of programs and more that lets you make name badges and anything for any type of event that you want. Posted up a video on doing Morse code between a couple of different clues. What can the clue do? And last up, we're working with our teams. We're expecting PyCon to make announcements. So far, PyCon's still on. It's April 15th to the 23rd. We'll see if that continues to happen. However, we are prepared for anything, including making sure people can tune into anything if it goes virtual. And that is the Python on Hardware news for this week.
Blinka, blinka, blinka.
All right.
Okay.
Jobs.adafruit.com. If you have skills, especially if you're a freelancer right now, or if you're a company looking for freelancers, this is the time and this is the place to post, jobs.adafruit.com. However, this one is a creative code and design instructor at Lick Wilmerding High School in San Francisco. It's full-time. Check it out, jobs.adafruit.com. All right, time travel. We're going to look around in the world of makers, hackers, artists, and engineers. This week, we have a video that we want to show. We've been doing Adafruit IO for about 3 years or so, and we wanted to make a service that plays nice with every device. So if you have no Adafruit hardware, you can still use Adafruit IO. Please buy Adafruit IO hardware once in a while. It pays for Adafruit IO. But we're at the point where there's so many features, and we've been growing the team, and we want to add more features that we said now's a good time to start doing things like, here's an overview video of all the different things it can do. So take it away, Noah and Pedro. They just made an Adafruit IO video.
It's awesome.
Check it out.
In this video, we're taking a look at Adafruit IO, the easiest way to stream, log, and interact with your data. Adafruit IO is a cloud service that can be used by everyone, from makers building home automation to scientists who want to log data. We think this is great for folks who want to build an internet-connected mailbox or automate their home with sensors. Other cloud services might lock you into using just their hardware. With Adafruit IO, you can use just about any device that can send data over the internet. With dashboards, you can visually see your data and control your projects from any browser. Data is stored on Adafruit IO feeds, and it's not restricted to numbers. You can send environmental data, human-readable text, and even base64 encoded binary data. Use charts to plot data from sensors so you can visually see things change over time. Dashboard blocks, such as buttons and switches, lets you send data to your projects so you can control them right from your browser. To customize your dashboard, you can drag and drop blocks and use the editor tools to easily make changes and updates. Connect your account to services like If This Then That or Zapier so you can move your data across the web. Set up triggers to notify you when your sensor data goes below a certain value. Use feed notifications to help you keep track of your feeds so you know when things are happy and healthy. There's tons of AIO projects on Adafruit's learning system, so you have lots of demo code. Adafruit has client libraries for Arduino, CircuitPython, and support for the Raspberry Pi. There's also really good documentation on using the API. With plenty of documentation, you can quickly get projects up and running. You can sign up for free right now and get access to all the core features. For projects that need unlimited feeds and dashboards, you can upgrade to IO+. So if you need to control your projects over the internet, definitely check out Adafruit IO and start plotting your sensor data. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure to subscribe for more content from Adafruit.
All right, other things in the news. Magpie is coming to the US, so just like we had the announcement and deal that we're trying to help hackspace with, Magpie has the same thing.
Yes.
So check out magpie.cc/Adafruit, and that'll get you 12 issues for $60. They're free Raspberry Pi Zero. Just to be clear, we get nothing for this. We are just helping. So what we wanted to do is help them get their US subscribers going, because if they don't have US subscribers, they're not going to have a magazine for US customers. Same thing with Hackspace. So I think they did pretty good with Hackspace, but you could still subscribe.
They're a great pair. Magpie, Raspberry Pi focused, Hackspace, everything focused.
Yeah, so if you want to support the Raspberry Pi Foundation specifically, go get a subscription. You get a free Raspberry Pi Zero. Go check out Hackspace. You get a free Circuit Playground Express. Check it out. Okay, other things that are going on in the world. Open Hardware Summit is virtual, so definitely check out our Discord right now if you want information. But they have a Discord server now. You can get the link, the Discord link, in our server or on 2020.oshwa.org, and you can see a list of the things. So it's going virtual. They have the hashtag, which is #OHS 2020 virtual. You can sign up for Oshwa emails. They have a link there. You can take the open source hardware survey, and then you can, if you want, get 2021 tickets already. My suggestion, if you're going to sponsor Open Hardware Summit for next year, do it as early as possible, because your logo is there for the entire year.
Yeah, and also help them out, because everything is very exciting, and I'm sure a lot of work went into trying to get it, happening here in New York, and now they have to plan to do that next year.
On Friday as well, there'll be the sessions virtually, and you'll be able to get those on a variety of streaming services. So we're all figuring this out together. So check it out and support the Open Hardware Summit. And I know Drew is in Discord right now. You can get all the links to that, and also from our team at any time. Okay, Lady Ada, there is 2,154 guides. What is on the big board this week?
We had a lot of guides this week and from last week. I'll start at the bottom right. Carter wrote a really cool guide on using 2 clue boards to send Morse code messages back and forth, using the buttons on the front of the clue for dit and da. And there's even a cheat sheet for all your Morse code decoding and encoding needs. And as when you pair the 2 clues, you can be up to 50 feet away and then send messages to each other surreptitiously using Morse code. Melissa wrote up a guide on using the Bluefruit dashboard using web Bluetooth. So you can now use any computer with a Chrome browser, which is like pretty much every computer, and you can connect to the Clue or to the Feather Sense or to Circuit Playground Bluefruit and get temperature and light. Whatever sensors are available, they'll pop up on the dashboard. So it's a really easy way to get that data and immediately view it. There's even a little 3D model of a rabbit that spins around if you have an orientation sensor, like in the Sense or the Clue. Jeff Epler wrote a guide. He helped get ULab, Microlab merged in from MicroPython into CircuitPython. There's a little bit of work that went into that to make it compatible with both and also to improve it. He also added a couple things like convolution, so you can do filter convolutions a lot easier with ULab. And he wrote a guide with lots of examples, such as doing FFTs to get spectral data, doing convolutions and filters, summing a lot of numbers, including how much faster it is to use ULab than to do it in pure Python. So definitely, if you have sensor data that you want to manipulate or large arrays of numbers that you want to manipulate on a CircuitPython board, you'll need one of the larger boards like the M4 or SAMD51 or the STM32F. 4 series with a lot more flash because the Microlab is a big project. But it's great to see, people always ask, like, is there NumPy available for CircuitPython? And now I can say, yes, something very similar is available. A lot of things that you want to do, you can now do with Microlab. We also did a little one-page Raspberry Pi computer quick start guide. That's because a lot of people were just like, I have a Raspberry Pi 4, what do I need to get started? How do I burn an SD card? All that stuff. So it's a quick start. It doesn't go into detail, but if you need to get your Raspberry Pi computer up and running, go through this one-page guide. And we wrote this because JP needed it for his Bluetooth LE sensor nodes to Raspberry Pi Wi-Fi bridge.
Right after you're done.
It's cool because it basically lets you take any of our Bluetooth low energy boards that have sensors built into them, and they almost all have at least one or two sensors built in, and emit that sensor data over advertising packets, which then gets picked up by the Raspberry Pi, which has built-in Bluetooth for the Raspberry Pi 4 or Pi 0W, and then it takes that data, the advertising data, and then it uploads it to Adafruit IO. So you can plot and store data from all your sensor nodes using Bluetooth. And Bluetooth is such a common protocol. It's great for use as a sensor node. And then by using advertisements, you don't have to do any pairing or anything. You're just listening in for this emitted data. Brent wrote a guide as well as a library for using Ethernet, using the WIZnet 5K series chipsets. That's very common. It's pretty much what everyone doing Arduino Ethernet is using. Now it's ported to CircuitPython, and he said it's really fast and super easy. No SSIDs required. Just plug in that cable, click, and you can connect to the internet. Check it out. He's got example code on using requests, connecting, as well as customizing your connectivity, like DHCP if you need to like tweak your DNS and stuff. We had the LPS 25 barometric pressure and temperature sensor come out this week. So it's a really nice fully molded sensor from ST for barometric pressure and temperature. We've got a guide for it. This breakout has Arduino code and CircuitPython code in Python code. So you can use it with any computer or microcomputer that basically you can use with Arduino or Python. Get pressure set data into your code. Kattni and what was the other person? Alvaro?
Yeah, we have the start of many more guides to come for translated guides on CircuitPython.
This time in Spanish. So if you want to use CircuitPython, you have students or kids, or you personally are not fluent in English, check out this guide. It's a fully translated guide version of our Welcome to CircuitPython, but fully translated. And of course, don't forget you can use CircuitPython translated builds, so the error messages also show up in, I think we have like 40 different languages supported. At least a dozen different languages supported, and more coming. And then if you are fluent in another language, please help with translation so we can get more languages built into CircuitPython.
Okay.
Oh, and no, we have 4 more to go. There's a lot of guides this week.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Do you want me to speed through them?
Yeah, this is our show.
Yeah, sure.
This
All
is what
right.
we do.
No, there's so many. And did a guide using the Clue with the Bright Wearables plug-in purse. So it's designed for microbit, but worked with Clue, and you can even display images on it. We have a guide on how to use the microbit classroom that just came out, how to manage classrooms, or maybe just a workshop or group of people using microbit. It's a great way to get feedback from students, make assignments, and check their work, all using the microbit online make code programming system. JP did the digital egg drop. We showed some little video clips of that on how to do the egg drop experiment, on how to protect eggs, but without having to crack any eggs. Sometimes you don't have to crack a few eggs to make an omelet. Sometimes you can just write some Python code. And we also have a guide for the Feather Bluefruit Sense, our all-in-one feather that has like 5-6 different sensors built in, as well as an RF52840. You can use it with Arduino or CircuitPython thanks to this guide.
Okay, 2 quick things. First, this is what we have as an example for the Microlab.
Yes, that's somebody whistling while the microphone is looking for a frequency, so you can see the frequency of the whistle in red.
Yeah, and then we have a short video on the broadcast net. So take it away, JP.
This project is the broadcast net. What we have are multiple Bluetooth-enabled microcontroller boards like the Clue and the Feather Sense that have a bunch of sensors on them. They're able to send their sensor data to a Raspberry Pi that's running our broadcast net library and CircuitPython via Blinka. This data is then collected on the Raspberry Pi and immediately sent via Ethernet or Wi-Fi up to Adafruit IO. There we're able to log that data and make all kinds of interesting widgets and graphs and charts so that we can look at the data. And it's a really great way for us to bridge the worlds of Bluetooth sensors and the internet via Wi-Fi or Ethernet connection that the Raspberry Pi can take care of for us. And so this is the broadcast net bridge.
Okay, we have some made in New York City factory footage. Take it away, Adafruit Factory. City factory footage segment without either a photo or video of what's going on. This is across the street. There's still
Nice.
lots of cranes. Yeah.
Action's happening, a lot of
Yeah.
earth moving.
Yeah, you can see that they've gotten through another building. So
Yeah.
Disney's building across the street from us. So this is a time lapse of this that we shoot out the window from the pick and place machines every week. Okay, 3D printing. This week we did the overview video of Adafruit IO, and then we have a sped up video. Take it away, now Pedro. And to learn how to make all this stuff and more, check out 3D Hangouts with Noah and Pedro every single week, 11 a.m. on Wednesdays. Okay, Lady Ada, we have a new segment.
That's right. The new segment.
Eye on NPI. And last week we kicked it off with the ESP32S2 and all the things that we're going to do with CircuitPython, TinyUSB, where to get it on DigiKey, the specific part number.
Sign up. Get them when
all that good stuff.
ship.
But this week we are doing a new Eye on NPI because
That's
that's what it's about. New.
Every week is going to be totally different. So we're going to take a total left turn onto a different highway.
This is Maxim.
And we're going to look at some Maxim all-in-one buck converter modules, which I thought were really interesting.
Yep.
So they're called the Himalaya Microslick step-down power modules. And what's interesting about this is it's a common power supply problem you got. You have, a high voltage, 4 volts to maybe 36 volts. Maybe it's, because you have a large battery, or your DC input is inconsistent. You don't know what they're going to plug in. You need to get like 3 volts or 5 volts or 6 volts or something out. You need about an amp or so. You'd want to use a buck converter. Everyone, people here, they want to use an LDO if you're really price sensitive. But the moment you have any heat concerns or power concerns, a buck converter is going to get you really good performance, a lot better than LDO, because you have 96 or so, 92 to 96% efficiency. So one of the things you'll also notice really fast when you do buck converters is that you have chips, and sometimes you need external MOSFET, you need an external inductor, and you need external components, capacitor. Before you know it actually gets kind of large. And as your board gets larger and all the components get separated, the efficiency can go down because you have these traces, and the traces, you lose, there's some resistance to the traces. Also, they're not as fully integrated. What's interesting about these modules is they're like so tiny, and they're all in one, and they even have the inductor built into them. So all you really need is like 2 capacitors, input output capacitor, and if you have the adjustable version, maybe 2 resistors to set the adjustable resistance, the voltage using adjustable resistance. So you want to look at some more pictures, maybe some part numbers?
Yeah,
please?
so there's a couple things. One, there's a schematic available.
So this is it. This is all you need. I mean, like, you have a couple caps, the input output caps, you have a couple filter caps, you have resistors to set the frequency and the stability capacitor, but these are all very small parts. Everything else is completely integrated. The MOSFET is integrated, the chip is integrated, and the inductor even is integrated.
Yeah, and for Eye on NPI, we'll always give the place where you get it, so it's available on DigiKey. This is their part number.
Yeah.
And there's a few different...
There's a few versions.
Yeah.
There's one that has a fixed 3.3 volt output, a fixed 5 volt output, and there's also one with adjustable output. So if you want to save 2 components, it's basically the same price. Pick the 3 or 5 volt one. You don't have to worry about those external parts. And then I want to make sure I show these on the overhead as well, because I actually got the eval board to show. So this is the eval board, and this shows the full setup. So what's interesting about this is that this part here, you see that looks like an inductor, because these are clearly the capacitors. This is the input and output capacitor, and then a couple passives. But this over here, I got some chips. This is the actual module itself. So it's like so small.
I'm gonna zoom in here. I see
You
how
want to
far.
zoom on?
Well, you know, we got this new overhead, and I've
Okay.
never zoomed
You're
in
zooming.
all the way.
People are going to lift my fingerprints.
Oh, sure, whatever.
Okay. So this is tiny. This is only a few. Whoa, whoa, whoa. So close. Whoa, so close.
This is it. We are in the chip.
It's too small.
Okay.
So it's, you know, the chip is wire bonded in. There's got the FET is built into it, so it's fully synchronous. And then you see the inductor is bonded on top. So one of the things that they showed off with this is that it's also extremely high efficiency because everything is so integrated. So it's a little bit more expensive than getting all the separate parts, but nothing's going to beat this on size and efficiency. If you have a wearable or you have a small device like a camera or sensors and you need it to be as efficient and as small as possible, this would be a very nice buck converter to use.
Okay. And as we explored the Maxim site, we saw video, and we're going to play their video that they had. It's about a minute long from one of their events.
Today I'm talking about the Himalaya Power. We have our switching regulators here, 60 volts max input voltage with integrated FETs, and today we're comparing against competition. So we have a fully synchronous device against a competitor who is asynchronous, converting 24 volts to 5 volts. And how do you compare them? Usually with efficiency. Today we can share that efficiency in terms of an actual visual representation with the thermal camera. So with the thermal cameras, you can actually see the difference in color on the screen. So on the left, you can see that we are much cooler. The blue representation and a max temperature of 55 degrees actually shows that we are cooler than competition, where you can see the red and white actually projecting about 95 degrees in terms of temperature. So the asynchronous solution is going to be less efficient. It has an external diode. We are fully synchronous, so we have internal FETs, which is definitely going to be more efficient and have less resistance. On the right side, we also have a 2 amp solution, where competition does have an actual synchronous solution, much like ours. However, even using an exact inductor and same switching frequency, we are still more efficient, and that represents an even cooler solution for Maxim versus competition of about 3 to 4 degrees. So in both cases, it's important to actually be more efficient. Whenever you have more heat, you need more external components. Maybe you need airflow, maybe you need an external heat sink. So the cooler operation is actually a simpler solution for you in time and external components.
And that's this week's Ion MPI.
Yes.
Check it out.
These are so cool. I think, you know, for making a very small device, needs to have flexible power input, and I just need to be as small and as efficient as possible, especially if you got a small battery and you want to make sure that you use that battery well. Check this out. The whole series, they have a bunch of different chips with different voltage inputs, outputs, etc. But this is the one I think you can start with because it's the adjustable one. That's Ion NPI.
Okay. Before we get over to new products, in it together is the code, because we are in this together, folks. We are, like it or not, in it together. Ready?
Yeah. New.
All right, new products.
In it together.
We are still on track to ship AdaBox very soon. There is not that many openings left. I think we're very close to running out because I just got a notification. So if you haven't already, go to adabox.com and pick it up. We'll be shipping probably within 4 weeks.
Yeah. There's a little bit of a delay, obviously, where, you know, we had to
Yeah.
wait to be able to get some of the components we needed, but we are putting the boxes together.
We are still on track.
We're doing it.
Okay, first up.
Okay, so this week is great for people who love DIN rails. Are you a DIN rail fan? Well, this week is for you. We have a whole bunch of different DIN rail accessories that let you connect various boards and circuitry boards and single board computers. So actually the first one I'll start with is this one, which I think is neat. It's actually just a mount, but here's what's cool about it. You can mount an Arduino Uno on it. You can mount a Mega, a Raspberry Pi, a BeagleBone, and here's an example. It's got mounting holes for all of them. So it's a nice side mount. It doesn't have any breakouts or anything. It's just a mount, but it comes with that DIN rail connector. So if you have like a little DIN rail here, I'm going to just demo it. You slide it on, and then you can bolt it down, and it's always hard to get going on live video. Okay, So then you can slide onto the DIN rail and you can add
It's like a roller coaster for your electronics.
It is like a roller coaster. But, for industrial use, I think this is it's a nice...
It's more like a monorail train tracks.
Yeah, it's a monorail. So this is a nice monorail for your electronics. This pairs very nicely with something what we put in stock a couple weeks ago, which is our 40-pin terminal block breakout. This is sold separately, but you can also put this on the railing and then plug it in over via this cable. So you have a full... hold on. So you can have the Raspberry Pi or BeagleBone or whatever, plug in, have the terminal block, and then you can have USB and Ethernet come out here, power, and then the GPIO if you want to connect this to something. So for industrial uses, or just, you want to organize your single board computer life, these DIN rail add-ons are great.
Okay, and just to show you some of the other ones.
Yeah, we
that
also
took
have
photos of.
Metro or Arduino shaped ones and ones for Mega or Grand Central. So these plug in upside down. That's just the easiest way to get to the headers because they're socket headers. You can still power them. You can, there's a reset button that's exposed here. You can connect SPI if you like. And these ones do come with terminal blocks. So they're more expensive because they have terminal blocks for all the GPIO as well. And then of course, for Mega projects, the Mega version, the Grand Central also fits quite nicely. Again, you can give it power and USB and mount it. It's very heavy. So it's like half a pound.
Okay.
DIN rail action.
Right, next up.
All right, DIN rails. Okay, we also have the Flickr, or Flick, I think Flick, sorry, I can't remember the name of it. The Flick case for, Flick IR case for Raspberry Pi 4. This is a really nice case. Flirk, right, can't remember their name. The Flirk case. So they do they have an IR remote and they to turn Raspberry Pi computers into AV setups, and they made this really nice case. I don't carry a lot of Raspberry Pi 4 cases because there's a ton of them, but I really liked this one. This one's screwed together. It's got this like really nice soft top and a metal outside, so it's nice and durable. It's nicely brushed, and on the bottom again, it's got this like soft, rubbery bottom, so it fits nicely, and you can put stuff on top of it. Yeah, nice. It's a nice feeling. And it has a heatsink built into it, and of course, it has all the outputs you need. You can get to the SD card very easily. It's a really beautiful case. It even has a little slot here if you want the GPIO cable to come through. Kind of hard to see, but there's a slot here for the GPIO cable to come through, and screws, and of course, all the USB and Ethernet. So this is a very nice case from the Flirk team. We also carry the remote. So if you want to turn your Raspberry Pi into a Kodi box, this case will do a very nice job.
Okay. Next up.
We also have another sensor, this one from ST. This is the ST LPS 25. It's a barometric pressure and temperature sensor. I have it wired up here to an STM32F405 Feather. And this sensor, it's nice, it's inexpensive, it's high quality, it has a nice range, and it's got quick connects on both sides. So you can see you just plug it right into this board, or we have ones with socket header or plug header or alligator clips. So you don't have to do any soldering at all. You just plug it in, and we've got code for Arduino and CircuitPython and Python, so you can use it with, again, any microcontroller or microcomputer you'd like. Great sensor, very easy to use. Great if you want to do altimeters, altitude detection, barometric pressure changes with altitude, and it can also be used for some weather detection. So if you're in a low pressure zone, maybe a storm is coming in, high pressure probably means it's going to be nice and sunny.
Okay, next up. It's Mr. Bill.
It's Squishy Circuits. This is neat. This is conductive Play-Doh. This is a kit to get you started. This is a starter kit. It's got a lot of stuff with it. I think it's got like 8 different tubs, different colors of squishy Play-Doh that's conductive. It also comes with a nice battery pack that's protected. It's got fuses inside of it to protect it, an LED to let you know it's on, and of course information. So This is a 4 AA battery pack. Turn it off or on, very nice. And then here you've got, for example, blue conductive dough. And what I like is they've got these little spade connects. Makes it really easy to plug it right into the dough. And then you can turn on LEDs. They also have a buzzer, which I'm going to plug in. It's going to be really annoying. Just get ready for that. That's annoying, but kids love annoying. So if you want to play with electronics, but like not even soldering, not even alligator clips, you're really playing with Play-Doh, this is a really fun kit, and it's really great for young kids to like add a little bit of electronics to their playtime.
Yeah, young kids. Adults are going to buy a bunch of these.
And adults love it too.
Next up, star of the show besides you, Lady Ada, and the community and all of our team members this week is this product.
That's right. In addition to everybody in the community that's awesome, this product's also awesome. This is also from ST. We've been adding a lot of sensors and devices from ST to the shop. This is a combo 9DOF sensor that features the LSM 6D socks. I love socks. As well as the LIST 3 MDL magnetometer. So this is accelerometer, gyroscope, magnetometer, all in one, and 9DOF board, all ready to go, connected over I2C with lots of interrupts. And the reason that this is so great is we actually did a comparison of all the different gyroscopes, because when you're doing orientation detection for like calculation and fusion, the gyroscope quality actually has a huge effect on whether you have low drift and whether you have very quick reaction. So the LSM6D socks has really excellent zero rate offset. So it doesn't have, won't slowly twist and drift as much as many other gyroscopes. And it's got very low noise. Like when you're sitting on a table and it's not doing anything, it's like 0.1 degree per second change. It's very, very minor noise. And so you're not going to see a lot of jitter in your orientation detection. So, fuse this with Mahoney or NXP fusion algorithm, or Magic. We've got a library for how to do that, and you can get 3D orientation data out. And this so far has been one of the nicest sensors at a very good price for getting orientation data. You're going to like this a lot if you're coming from an MPU 6050 or some other earlier IMU sensors. This is a nice 9DOF pairing. Yes, new products.
Okay, want to do a recap?
Yes, it's recap time.
Let's do a recap. Ready?
Recap. New. You like DIN rails? You got DIN rails? You have stuff you want to put on DIN rails? You're set. These add-on boards let you connect a Raspberry Pi or a BeagleBone. We've got one for Arduino. We've got one for Mega sized boards, all on monorails, DIN rails, so you can easily organize and wire up your boards. Very nice for people who use DIN rails in their projects. This, man, I keep forgetting their name. Flirk. This Flirk case for the Raspberry Pi 4 is a great, beautiful case. It's got aluminum on the outside, and it's got this kind of soft silicone rubber on the top and bottom. It's a great case, and the Flirk team also does a lot of work on Raspberry Pi and AV setup software, so it's a great way to support them and their free software by buying hardware. If you would like to add a simple, low-cost, but high-quality barometric pressure and temperature sensor, the LPS25, you can't go wrong with it. It's a great sensor. We've got Arduino and CircuitPython code for it, so it'll work with any microcontroller or computer board to get barometric pressure and temperature. Do you like playing with Play-Doh? Do you like the smell of Play-Doh? It kind of is comforting, isn't it, in these troubling times? Well, you can get conductive Play-Doh. Comes with a battery pack with these nice spade connectors, conductive and also insulating dough, as well as a bunch of LEDs. It's a really fun way to play with Play-Doh and do electronics. No soldering, no alligator clips. You just play with Play-Doh all day and make things light up and beep. And the star of the show is the LSM 6D socks plus LIST 3 MDL 9DOF sensor. This is a really great quality sensor with an excellent gyroscope with very low zero rate offset and very low no motion drift. So if you want to get a 9DOF sensor that you can then fuse to get orientation data using Magic or Mahoney or other similar fusion algorithms, we had very good success with this sensor set. The magnetometer is very high quality, it's very stable and has high rate, and the gyroscope, of course, is what really sets it apart. They've done an excellent job with making a very stable, high quality gyroscope here in the LSM 6D SOX sensor. And that's new products.
Okay. Code is in it together all the way up to 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time tonight. We are going to answer some questions in just a moment. So head over to adafruit.it/discord or discord.gg/Adafruit. Both of those things get you to the same place. But first, we're going to do some top secret. Give you a couple minutes to get over there and put your questions in. While you're doing that, we're going to show this off. So first up, we got the Clue working with this little bot. So here it is so far. All right, Lady Ada, what is this?
Hey, I'm testing out the Clue in this microbit compatible bot, the Cute Bot. This is adorable. It's got NeoPixels, little wheels, battery, and a sonar. And I've got it working with Adafruit Bluefruit Control, which is our app. So I can make it go. Ready? Back it up. Whoa. Stop. Forward. There you go. This cute little bot works great. Hi.
And next up, Lady Ada, what is this?
So if you like that quick board that we just showed off with the LSM 6D SOX and the List 3 MDL, we're going to come up with a 9DOF IMU Featherwing based on the same sensor set. So it'll be really great. You can plug it into any of our feather boards because we use only I2C and then get 9 degree of freedom orientation data out.
Okay.
This is kind of an interesting chip that I saw. It's an ST25DV. It's a EEPROM that has both I2C and NFC interfaces. So you can write the EEPROM over I2C and then read it over NFC. So it's kind of like a rewritable EEPROM with NFC connectivity. So you're just like, I just drew a little antenna on it, and I don't know if it's going to work out, but it looks kind of neat, right?
It does. And that's top secret for this week. Get back in the vault.
Back in the vault with you.
Secret projects.
So secret.
Okay, if you
Not out
haven't
yet.
already, please head over to adafruit.it/discord. Join all 16,000 of us. Now's a good time to join a community with a bunch of people online. Let's do some questions. Okay, Lady Ada, there are some questions lined up. I'm
I'm ready.
Are you ready?
Ask me.
First up, how does this new 9DOF compare to the NXP 9DOF?
It's a little bit better. I think that
one?
the LSM 60 SOX. I did a comparison of every gyroscope because that's what really determines the quality. And I think the noise, the offset in the noise on the LSM 60 SOX was quite low, and also NXP. I'll say I have liked that sensor set for quite a bit, but they had a lot of difficulty for like a year. I couldn't get those chips. So it makes me a little nervous about using them because we now have them, but for 10 months, they were completely unavailable and unclear why.
Next up, how are you deciding whether you add a crystal to the SAMD-based product? Some have it like the Feather M0, and some don't, like the Itsy Bitsy M0.
When price
This is a good question, by the
Yeah,
way.
when price and size are at a premium, like the Itsy Bitsy, I just did not have space, or on the Circuit Playground Bluefruit, we didn't have, we had to reduce the bill of materials as much as possible. I don't put the crystal on, but for the Feather NRF 52840, there's a crystal because it's designed for everybody to use, and if they want to use it for low power or RTC usages. But then on the Feather Sense, I ran out of space. I had to remove the crystal. There was no way to make room for the microphone.
Got it.
You always have to have at least. You tend to need to have at least one crystal. There's built-in oscillators inside a lot of ARM Cortex chips, and especially with the SAMD series, it's good to have a crystal, of course, but you can synchronize against the 1 kilohertz USB pulse, and that'll get you really close and has been very successful for us. So, if I have space and the budget, I'll put it in, but if not, it's not essential. You can do without it.
Okay. All right. I'm not quite sure. Maybe someone in the chat can answer this one. Is there a GUI designer included with the Node-RED environment? How do you create a GUI panel that talks to Node-RED.
You know, I've never really used Node-RED, but
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of tutorials online.
Yeah.
So people might know in the chat, but definitely check out like YouTube for videos on Node-RED.
Okay. For the chip that can do rotation, 0.1 degree per second, is it sensitive to notice the rotation of the Earth?
No, because you're moving with the Earth, so you can't use that to detect the Earth's rotation. It does have a little bit of noise. It's meant for you're moving something in 3D space, not for detecting like the planet you're on moving. There's a magnetometer that can tell you where north is, but then again, as you're moving, north is moving with you.
Okay. Let me check the next room. I think that might be it for questions. I think someone's typing. So if they finish typing their question, that's always a tricky thing when you see the typing, because it's like, do you wait?
You don't know. What does that mean? I know. We had this discussion.
What do you do? What do you do? What do you do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. So without a USB connection, it's less stable without an external crystal.
That's right. There could be some error. It could be like 1 to 2% error. The only real way to know for sure to have it output a square wave, from a timer out on a pin, and measure it with an oscilloscope or a logic analyzer, and you'll be able to see that it does change a little bit. But again, does it matter? It probably not. For some cases, you really do need a high precision timing, but for a lot of cases, you don't.
Okay. Those are our questions for tonight.
Yay.
But don't forget, if you go to adafruit.it/Discord, we're there 24/7.
I'm there.
Join all of us. Now is a really good time to meet new people, share your projects, join this community. We've been doing this for a decade. Lots of people working from home. Lots of people are doing things where they have a lot of computer time.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be antisocial. We founded Circuit Python on the idea, code plus community.
It's in the name.
It's just as important as the code is the community. So do check that out. We're not going to do a giveaway this week because I don't know what's going to be going on. So
we may not be able to ship it.
Who knows? There's a lot of things that I don't know what's going to happen next. So I don't want to have to figure out how to get this free thing to someone today. But we'll have probably a bunch more online stuff that we're doing. I might even do like a giveaway hour coming up soon.
Yeah, sure.
Crazy times.
We've done that.
We've done that before. So that is our show.
Thanks, everybody.
This week. Thank you so much. Special thanks to all the Adafruit team members, both here and remote. Jesse May's in the Adafruit Slack.
Thanks, Jesse May.
Handling things behind the scenes. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Jesse
thank you,
May.
thank you, Jesse May.
Thank you, everyone, so much. Don't forget the code is in it together. We are in it together. Your code, your purchase helps us keep this thing going. We'll get through anything together, everybody. Hang in there. Hold tight. Take a deep breath. Share something. Makes you feel good.
And hang out with us online.
We'll see everybody next
Be
week.
virtual, and don't forget Oshawa is also this weekend, and anyone can tune in.
Yep. All right. Here is your moment of Zener.
Bye, everybody.
See everybody next week.
Stay safe.